Get busy living or get busy dying. That's goddamn right.
I can taste it.
Which one? But it's Valeria.
It doesn't have common names. Okay.
Have you got something in the list?
No,
Valeria. Because normally the common.
No, they're not there. Okay, fine. Don't worry. Okay, for most of these plants, there is a label.
Lanes.
Fine. Okay. There's a label. But not all the time. So it just gives some rough information here. We've got some flowering with the Valeria here. These are very hardy. They're very tough. So they really survive, harshness, very tough conditions. And they're really common in this highland savanna area. And we can see also this one, there's some kind of a brandy bush here. But this one is Gruvia flavescens.
The square stemmed
The square stemmed one. There are about 8 species.
Several.
Eight
This
or more.
makes a nice little fruit, edible. It's brandy bush. Also used to make a traditional brandy type of drink. Very popular in Africa, not just in Namibia. I attended a meeting recently with Mozambicans and they were really praising this. In addition to the zissifus as well, that it's very big for them. They make nice brandies and it keeps people very happy for days.
Happy bush. So we're gonna see the lilies are out. The lilies are out, but we are a bit late in terms of
Flowering.
the flowering because they flower before leafing. Because that's an adaptation to outcompete the other herbaceous plants like the grasses. So when they got this bulb or a comb under most of the leaves, either a comb or a bulb.
Looks like an onion.
Which looks like an onion-like organ, which is a perinating organ. So what they do, they put all these reserves in there. So once they get the rains in the right amounts, they push out the flowers very fast. We call that condition hysteresis. They push out the flowers, so they quickly flower and produce seed and disperse them before they can be hindered by anything else that has grown. Then when the rains continue to come, then they start to have the leaves. And the leaves now are there to photosynthesize and again replenish the store in the bulb for the next season. So it's a strategy, in here. But then if you see now the leaves, it means they're finished normally with the flowering. So it's now just a way of. So this is called Lady Borea, and it looks like a pajama. Very decorative leaves. So people use them to, rockery plants and pot plants as well.
If I can add perhaps, obviously the main objective of a plant in general is to ensure the survival thereof. So that is why they shoot out the flower first, to ensure that pollination occur, seeds produce, and that is dispersed into the field again. So the survival of that particular plants in general, but that's actually quite a nice strategy for survival of people. One thing that I've heard actually yesterday, for those of you that know actually the country a little bit better, multi-year, the town in the south, about 35 kilometers just north of that, there's a huge flame.
Pan,
pan. I think that's also cranium.
It's Crinum paludosum.
Yeah. When there's enough rain where the water reach a certain depth, I'm not too sure how much is that. Obviously then there's enough moisture and it's really like a huge place, and it's just put this display of pink and whitish flowers. Apparently they are now in flower.
Apparently just for 2 weeks.
What I understood
it's essentially for 2 weeks, but what normally happens, because there is an umbel It's got different flowers, and they are not flowering at the same time. So it's the show. They comes in like it's phasing, in phases, and it's quite interesting. So it's going to be 2 weeks. There's something, then something dies down, then again another show.
I understand if one then look in general the cycle of those lilies is once the enough water is there, it takes about 4 days to reach full bloom. It stays there for about 4 days, and then within 4 days it just dies off again. So it is in a year's time actually only about almost 2 weeks window frame that it displays a magnificent display of flowers.
Why there and nowhere else?
Pardon?
Why in Malta here and nowhere else?
No, there's somewhere else. It's just I think there
Why so many there?
So why so many there?
It's an ideal habitat.
And nowhere else is ideal.
But it's a particular species.
Okay.
It's a particular species. Those species they also prefer
Select their own
conditions
they like to grow in.
And most of these bulbs, one thing is that they are also poisonous. They got alkaloids. Because normally when they are the ones to come out first, so all the animals that have been hungry say, wow, come to them. So they also need now to see to protect themselves from that. So they're poisoned with alkaloids. So that's.
But if you wanted, you could plant them in Windhoek. Like you could take a space and just plant loads of bulbs. Would they grow here?
In here, they do.
Yeah.
They do, but then they resent being moved. So so they can actually have like a year or 2 not flowering. So sometimes people then give up, but they will flower eventually. You see most of these, we have actually grown them.
Yeah.
Even from Malta here, we collected some few there and put them there. But then, they took time to then flower.
To settle.
But to settle down and then,